Forbearances. We're
$58.7 million worth of tickets in its second weekend. Top Gun Maverick takes the number 3 spot, adding $44 million in its fourth weekend in theaters. Kathleen Maloney, Fox News.
A golfer from England won the U.S. Open.
I absolutely love winning, and I don't care who it is. I just want to beat everyone.
It's not just Matt Fitzpatrick's first major championship, it's his first win on the PGA Tour. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
WPTV's First Alert Weather on WSTU is brought to you by Sailfish Roofing, offering excellence, honesty, and integrity in everything they do. Sailfish Roofing, 772-263-ROOF. Community roofing company you can trust. Sailfish Roofing. Now here's WPTV's First Alert meteorologist.
Your WPTV First Alert forecast. This afternoon, highs in the low 90s, scattered afternoon to evening showers and storms possible as a front remains stalled out across the state. Tomorrow, highs in the upper 80s with some storms around. By the middle portion of the work week, drier air settles in and rain chances go down. Highs staying hot and humid in the upper 80s to low 90s. Friday through the weekend, increasing rain chances as moisture returns to the area. Highs in the low 90s. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Katya Hall for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Good morning, and coming to you live today on Facebook. This show is pre-recorded, however, for the radio and will air on June 29th at 10 a.m. So if you're joining us by Facebook, feel free to join in and ask some questions and comments here, and I'll pass them on to my guest in the studio this morning, who is Doug. And is it Mustapek or Mustapek?
Second one, Mustapek.
Mustapek.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
so we have Doug, and he is running for Martin County Commission District 4, the Republican ticket. We just had his opponent in last week, which was incumbent Sarah Hurd. So it's going to be a really fun half hour here, Doug, and I'm anxious to hear about your platform and all that you want to do. But before we get into that, I have to thank my sponsors. First one is the best kept secret in Martin County. You can come by boat, car, or stroll the boardwalk and explore the best kept secret, which is the Fish House Art Center. It's down in Port Salerno in the Pocket. I know they're doing some renovations there right now, but a lot of the businesses are still open. They have a craft and creamery with craft beers, wine, and 24 flavors of ice cream. So there is something there for the entire family. It's really good. And the other thing that they have is a marina. They have a couple slips open. Give them a call if you need a place to keep your boat. Excellent place and a lot of fun things to do. FishhouseArtCenter.com or call them up 772-221-5482. Secondly, COVID, unexpected expenses, and illnesses. There are many issues that can cause your successful business to slump deep into the red. We are here to help, and we only get paid if we provide you a workout. Debt restructuring is complicated. We are the negotiator between you and your creditors. Commercial Mortgage has been in the industry of small balance corporate finance since 2003. Our focus is on challenging corporate foreclosures, debt restructures, equity, and new debt solutions. These issues are often not easy to see or understand when you run a business and are faced with multifaceted debt challenges that include legal financial action on various fronts. That's where we come in. We never charge a front fee or deposit, and we're only paid if we successfully provide you a debt workout. Areas of expertise include hotels, marinas, office buildings, restaurants, apartments, multifamily condos, golf courses, home builders, land development, including new and repurposed developments. Call Commercial Mortgage LLC at 772-872-6099, 872-6099, or visit them online, commercialmortgagellc.com. And finally, folks, it's hurricane season, and I know I sound like a broken record, but boy, is it super important to reserve your spot to have safe harborage for your boats, because once a storm is named, the chances of you finding a spot in this town is pretty much zip. You'll want to give Indiantown Marina a call. They are one of South Florida's best boat storage facilities, and they're located very safe spot inland on the Okeechobee Waterway, very well protected. And they're also a do-it-yourself and full-service boat yard. So if you need work to be done on the boat while it's there, you can hire someone to do that or work on it yourself. Give them a call at 772-631-3272, 631-3272. That's Indiantown Marina. All right, Doug. So let's find out a little bit more about Doug Mustapik. He's a Tequesta native with deep roots in the community and a passion for public service. Doug graduated from the King's Academy while working summers building one home at a time at Mustapik Homes. In 2010, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps and served honorably, deploying to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Doug returned to South Florida in 2015, where he worked full-time while completing his bachelor's at NSU in business and psychology and his master's degree at the University of San Francisco in political leadership. Doug currently serves as the Chief Information Officer for a home care agency covering Martin County, where he manages the systems impacting quality of care. As a business executive, Doug knows what it takes to grow their business-friendly local climate. Growing up as a native Floridian, Doug also understands the value of clean water and its importance to our boat-loving community and environment. Doug and his fiancée, Mary, live in Hobe Sound, raising their 6 and 11-year-old sons, Grayson and Colton. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Casey. I'm excited to be here.
It's exciting to have you here, and my goodness, I was driving up I-95 yesterday from Hobe Sound, and did I see a really big banner with Doug Mustapik on it? So
yes, ma'am.
You are out hitting the streets and out
Yeah.
pressing palms and getting people to get to know who Doug is a little bit better.
We are.
So I appreciate you coming in here, and that's just what we're going to do today. So tell us a little bit about why you're running for this seat.
Sure. The initial reason, ironically enough, wasn't a local one. 2 years ago, or a year ago, as we withdrew from Afghanistan, I was very bothered by the impact that had on the veteran community. And in my studies in my master's program, I learned that for every 10 citizens in Martin County, one's a veteran. Wow. Compared to 20 to 1 in Palm Beach County.
Wow.
And I firmly believe that's one of the cornerstones of our small town feel here in Martin County. And so as I continue to dive in and wanting to learn more about my local community, I signed up for Martin County Leadership Program when it was accepted there for this last class 31.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. I was voted as my class representative.
Were you really?
So, yeah, it was a huge honor. But that really allowed me the opportunity one day a month, just for 8 hours, no phones. We were out learning about the community. And so I started to dig into the environment, and it started to make me think about who's next, right? Where is our leadership from a government perspective going? And so as a Marine, I believe that service deserves to be shared, and so I'm excited to earn that opportunity to serve our community.
And thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
It's always a deeply passionate issue here, especially in Martin County, as you said. I didn't realize the ratio of veterans was so much higher here, but that's always something that all of us are so appreciative for what you guys sacrifice and do for us. So, well, Doug, tell me a little bit more. Let's start with the water issues.
Sure.
You mentioned that in your biography here. Of course, we have all the discharges and the pollution and local runoff and all that. Where do you see your position as a county commissioner in helping to get us clean water and stop
Sure.
these discharges?
I mean, I think the first important thing is to continue the works that are being done. Those septic to sewer conversions are incredibly important. The storm treatment areas are incredibly important. In leadership, I had the privilege of going to see the new Bluefield site next to C-44 Canal, and it's incredible. I mean, you have a whole environment that's completely opened up of wildlife, and so I encourage people to get out and see it. And so continuing that path is incredibly important through policy, both locally as well as befriending our state legislators up to our congressmen as well.
But Doug, I can certainly tell you have a personality that's very outgoing and very welcoming. So I think that's a really good key for somebody that is holding a political position, because you do need to go out and meet a lot of different people and go to the state, sometimes even go to Washington, D.C., and let them know what happens here in Martin County. So I wish you well with that for sure.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit more. Your opponent is the incumbent Sarah Hurd. I think she's running for her 6th term now.
Yes, ma'am.
If people vote for Doug, what's the differences? Why would they vote for you over the incumbent?
Sure. My background being from the Marine Corps, I fixed generators on F-18s. And then when I deployed to Afghanistan, I actually learned mail was free to send. And so I wrote the Fortune 500 CEO list asking for leadership advice and books. And so no one thought it was going to work. And then 120 letters got returned to me from different CEOs around the U.S. And
wow.
It was an incredible experience. I've got all the letters, happy to share. I got a library out of the experience. What hit me was that they're active. They're active in the community. Whether they don't just see their community as their company, but the U.S. or the world at large.
Right.
And so, for me, that's one of the first main changes that the community is already seeing. I've been to over 100 events, and so getting to see the people in this community, we have tons of people of various means, and that's one of the second reasons, or the second reason that I'm running, is that we need to make sure that everyone of various means is protected, and I fear that's slipping away right now.
As you're out speaking with the community, what are your views of the top 3 issues that people are concerned with here in Martin County?
Sure. The environment is always, that's to me a nonpartisan issue. That's just being good for the environment is good for everyone.
Right.
Where we're at, I was in the commission meeting and I saw a 73-year-old gentleman talk about how he needed to take on a roommate just to afford living here in Martin County. And so keeping our Martin County residents in Martin County is the next thing. We've got 9% inflation right now, right? And so now is not the time for us to be implementing half-cent sales taxes or, not decreasing the budget, right? We just passed a budget, or didn't pass a budget, I should say. All right, let me back up. My opponent did not vote for passing the budget that included a 1% tax decrease. And for me, that's concerning. There's a lot of residents that really could have used that money in their pockets.
The housing is incredible right now. Real estate's hot and on fire, but you're absolutely right. I heard that rent is 22% more than it should be, that it's went up even more than that year over year. I think it's went up 40-some percent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're at, Martin County is the 5th most overpriced rental market in the U.S. Martin County. Right, not Miami-Dade, not Palm Beach, Martin County.
Martin County with our 160,000 residents. It's absolutely astounding to think about that. And, cost of housing and roommates, I've heard a lot of people that's had to do that previously were on their own. So it's certainly a concern that I'm not sure what's the best way to address that.
Again, I think it's ensuring, one, that we share our voice of what's happening in our local community to our congressmen, making sure that those voices are heard, because taxes are not just local, obviously, they're all the way up.
Right.
And so we see it as the Fed is raising the rate, we're seeing the inflation, we're seeing 22% reductions in people's savings accounts or retirement accounts. And so for me, as that local legislator in the future, it's making sure that we are doing as best we can with as least amount of taxes as possible.
Okay.
So efficiency is definitely a highlight for me.
So besides housing, what else have you heard out there?
Oddly enough, safety and crime. And so I think, one, it's a highlight on the fact that our sheriffs are doing a fantastic job, public safety from a firefighter's perspective, fantastic job.
100%.
And that's one of the main things that our citizens love about Martin County is the services that we offer. But I think maintaining, when hearing that crime is still a concern, I think it's maintaining the vigilance, right? Compliance is a huge, or I'm sorry, not compliance, complacency is a huge issue. And so that's what I hear when I read that and when I'm talking to people.
When you are in government, there's a lot of different companies and businesses that are out there. For example, we have the water park, and then there's the restaurant out by the beach. Do you believe government in general should be a business owner?
No.
Very simple. We don't need to go any further. No.
I'm a Republican, right? What does that mean? I believe that we need to collect as little amount of taxes as possible, which makes it even harder for me running for office to do my job the right way.
Right.
in the Marine Corps, after leaving Afghanistan and having this Fortune 500 CEOs write me back, I was privileged enough to get transferred into our process improvement division. And so by the end of my career in the Marine Corps, I was able to save the Marine Corps $3 million redoing our hazardous material purchasing contracts.
Wow.
And so those are the type of experiences that I have, but that I also want to bring to Martin County, ensuring that we are as efficient as possible with our taxpayers' dollars.
Excellent. Of course, our comp plan is a huge issue here in Martin County. Everybody wants to adhere to our comp plan. There's a really big development going on right now, and a comp plan amendment that's proposed, the Rural Lifestyle Comp Plan Amendment. And it's a discovery project down in Hobe Sound that's kind of brought this whole thing about. Where do you stand on this comp plan amendment?
Sure. First off, I'm very cautious about any comp plan amendments, right? I'm a bigger fan of exceptions, but that creates some concerns down the road, right? When you've got other projects and other developers. And so for me, I would say that my biggest concern about this project is that there are not many other areas that are bringing in tax revenue like it could potentially do so. And so if my job is to bring about as low tax as possible, it's not that I'm pro-development, it's that it's one of the levers to pull when we're going through inflation at 9%, right? That's tax money that could be coming into our community. And so where I stand on it is that everyone needs to get educated. I believe that people for it should definitely be there on Tuesday. I believe that people still educating themselves on it should be there Tuesday. And people who are against it should be there Tuesday.
And while this show is pre-recorded, we are talking with Doug Mustapik. We are live on Facebook today. When he says Tuesday, he means tomorrow, the 21st of June. So by the time this airs on the radio, the vote will be done, and we'll know what's happening with the project. But,
yes, we will.
For those of you on Facebook, tomorrow, you're right. Absolutely, is the time to go out to the commission and voice whether you support it or not. So it's time to hear from the citizens. Which another thing we hear a lot about is infrastructure.
Yes.
Road congestion.
There's even one bigger than that. It's the bridge, right?
Oh, the train bridge.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. As
Sure.
a county commissioner, you only have so much control over some of these things. But how do you see our county dealing with all of these changes?
Gunnery Sergeant Fraley, my first gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps, told me, he goes, push through the brick wall. That was one of the first things I learned being as a fleet Marine doing my job, is that you don't just stop when you get an answer. You keep pushing if that's your objective, right? And so the fact that we have counties to the south of us that have an equitable distribution of 30-30, and we've got 15-45 with an old bridge, is terrifying to me. You know, you saw Brian Mass' video explaining some of the issues on the water next to that bridge. I've left Hudson's on the Bay, or I've left downtown at night. A buddy of mine lives in North Shores, tried to boat back. We were there for an hour and 25 minutes. That's going to make huge changes, right? We're talking about Indian Town Marina, Scott Watson.
Right.
I know I've spoken with him. How many yacht businesses, how many boat businesses are to the west of that bridge there?
That's
right? And so
exactly right.
For me, I understand that we've already made a position with this as the county, but for me, it's about being that advocate for our citizens here, not just locally, but up to that federal level, to say this is not the definition of what you've set out, and we do need to go back to the drawing board in whatever possible avenues we have to us.
Yeah, and that darn bridge, I think it broke down about a week ago, and it was down for, I think, several hours at that point.
Right.
So, and it is, like you said, it's almost 100 years old, so everybody looks at the old rusty bucket that it is. And,
Yeah,
and you can't get under it when it's down low unless
Right.
you're in paddleboard. So.
Right. I did meet with the Bright Line. I was at a lunch and learn with Palm City Chamber, and they are aware of the issue. The concern is just the timing that it's going to take for us to get a new bridge, which apparently they put paperwork through on, but that might be a 7 to 10 year time frame.
Right.
That's going to completely change the culture before we get that. So that's the real concern.
It
there.
will, and there's so many infrastructure projects throughout the United States. Everybody wants a piece of that pie, so you got to worry about funding as well. So, we'll see how all that plays out. What about the road congestion?
Sure. One of the things I was just in my education meeting with the commissioners, learning about their positions, one of the things that I was shocked about is that, so there's a trigger, right, to say, oh, we need to repair that road. Do you know, out of ratings, right, our infrastructure rating, do you know what grade we have to get to before the trigger?
I have no idea.
It's a D, and it goes to E at the bottom. And so before we even get a road on the map to start improvements on, it has to, in my opinion, fail. If I got a D in the Marine Corps, a lot of people are dead behind me, right? And so
That's right.
ultimately, that now moving, if I'd love to see that moved up, but what does that mean from the budget perspective, right? And so that's clearly a balance that I'm still digging into, but I do think that we need to look at what that looks like. We have tons of congestion, right? But it's not just congestion. What we're really talking about is the impact from all the people moving to our county.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that we need a campaign, right? I saw people driving with, and I won't say the other state, but just an out-of-state tag.
Right.
And I'm seeing people litter out of the car. And I'm like, this isn't a city. No one
Right.
cleans the streets. Like, this goes into our water. This impacts our environment. And so an education platform around our new citizens that have come in is important to me. I think we really, again, need to protect what's here, and that's one way to do it.
We 100%. I think everybody agrees with you on that, and that's one thing that folks do in Martin County is they get together to protect it. So, and the citizens, it's amazing how they come together over the water issues, over at the train, whatever it is. So,
Well, that's what I love about this county. It's you hear about other counties, and it's not that you have this small town feel. It's that it's a city. Even in Palm Beach County, you feel like you don't know your elected officials. I've seen our elected officials. I've seen most of our elected officials out and about,
Right.
and that's been great. And I think we need more elected officials that are active in the community to be a part of it.
it is, and I agree with you 100%, and I'm glad to hear you say that. So you're a person that when you become an elected official, you're not going to be one of those people that does not return phone calls or too busy for meetings.
Not one bit. I've been a mentor at Operation 300 now for the past 6 camps. We've got one coming up July 2nd to 24th.
Okay.
I've done an honor flight, and I've got another flight scheduled
Oh,
with them as
nice.
well. And so while veteran causes are very important to me, beach walks, cleaning up the environment, and then being there for our local population is needed. We've got a lot of elderly people. And so my background in a home care agency, I believe, really does give me that well-rounded, all-encompassed view of our citizens here in Martin County.
You bring something up that is prevalent in Martin County that people really don't realize because we have a lot of wealth here as well,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of homeless people. And do you have any ideas
Yeah.
of really how to solve that issue?
Sure. So one of the blessings in our community is Miss Rena's House of Blessings, and so I got the privilege of touring through that, through her house and through the pantry. And so to me, government should not be responsible for funding many things. Why? Because the people who earn their money deserve their money. So that means, again, less taxes.
Right.
But I do believe that we are responsible to create that communication platform, that transparency, to show people what's happening in the environment so they can put their money where they want to, right, where they need to. And so aligning, here's a person in need, what their path looks like, and what nonprofits are associated to their path of need and that progress. And so Miss Rena's Housing does an outstanding job of really being a benefit to the community.
She does.
There's 217 people living out of their cars in Martin County. And while we don't really like to talk about it, it doesn't change the need that's there.
That's right. That's right.
And so that is one that I think is just doing an outstanding job here.
Tony Stevens, thank you for tuning in. He's from Foghat, if you remember, and tuning in from the UK. Jen Russell, she's running for the school board, Martin County School Board. She's tuned in, and she's all about Doug. Says support Doug Mustapick for District 4. And RJ has a question. He says, do you promise to vote against anything that will increase our taxes and take away our liberty freedoms?
Do I promise to vote against anything that takes away our liberty freedoms? I do not believe in masking. I do believe in individual rights. I believe in 2A. I am a Republican. I'm a United States Marine. I'm never going to promise to not raise our taxes 100% because as a local official, it is our responsibility to pull the lever to make sure our economy is covered. And so if there is something that could make sense, I think that does need to be left open. But 99% of the time, you were going to see me vote no on any increase for taxes.
RJ also asked, with the increase in size and scope of our country, government, he might have meant county there, such as private sector adventurism, will you look into selling or defining the sorry RJ.
Oh, no.
I'm trying. I think there's a couple typos.
Thanks for the question.
The already placed boondoggles that stress the taxpayers. So if you look in selling or probably defunding the already in place boondoggles that stress the taxpayers.
Do I believe in lowering taxes if that's the root of the question? Yes. If you look at the amount of land that Martin County owns, just from a conservationist perspective, if I'm correct, and I've got to get the numbers because I was talking to Darlene about this, but Martin County owns 48% of its land. And so the management of that cost is definitely interesting to me, and another area where we need to look into. But at the end of the day, I believe, again, that money belongs back in the taxpayer's pocket.
And he did clarify he meant defunding boondoggles that are in place. So. Doug, we're almost at the end of the hour, 2 minutes. So how can people reach you?
Sure.
How can they help support you?
Yes. So support every Saturday. We do neighborhood walks. We will be coming to a neighborhood near you. Please befriend me on Facebook, my personal page, or my political campaign page. You can find it at facebook.com/pickmustapick. You can go to pickmustapick.com. There you'll be able to donate and also sign up to volunteer or leave any comments or questions. You can email me at doug@pickmustapick.com. And for those that might want to write that down, that is PICK, M as in Mike, USTAPICK.com. So I look good.
Perfect. And I was going to say, no, you're good. This is good.
Sure.
They have to know how to
Awesome.
reach you. We only have a minute
Yes.
left, but I know there's some candidate meet and greets that are coming up around the county. Are you going to be at any of these?
Yes, I've been at all of them.
Okay.
Just to be very clear. So there's not likely any of them that I won't be. Indiantown is my next one coming up that I'm very excited to meet all the residents out
And
there.
that's going to be a great place. I think it's out in the park, and
Yes.
all the candidates of the whole county is recommended. So, Doug Mustapick, he's running for Martin County Commission, District 4. Again, he's running against incumbent Sarah Hurd. He's on the Republican ticket. Doug, we've learned a lot about you today. Great personality. I wish you a lot of luck here on your campaign, and I always appreciate anybody that puts himself out there because it's really a big deal. So,
Sure. Well, Casey, thank you for doing what you do. I know that the journalism field has changed dramatically over the past few decades, so thanks for continuing the service that you provide for our community.
my pleasure, and I appreciate that very much. Again, this show will air on June 29th on the radio, WSTU, AM 1450, but today we were Facebook Live, and it'll be shown again on Facebook on the 29th. Take care.